Let's jump into chapter 7. The segue, of course, is from chapter 6, the last verse, where Yeshua has gone as a forerunner on our behalf, having become a high priest forever after the order of Melchizedek. That's what he says in the very last verse of chapter 6. And then he feels the need to stop and take time to explain this Melchizedek, and that's where we're going to pick up our explanation tonight. A lot is going on in the mind of the writer of the book of Hebrews to the point that he needs to bring Melchizedek in. God gave the promises to Abraham, which is really great, right? Genesis chapter 12. And yet, Abraham pays tithes to Melchizedek, which shows us that Melchizedek is this type and shadow of keeping in perspective this great man Abraham's role. Even though he was great, and even though he's the father of our faith, both Jews and Gentiles who place their faith in Messiah, read Romans 3 and Galatians chapter 4 all over again, it's important for us to understand that Abraham blessed Melchizedek. And this begins to set up this teaching tool for the writer here to explain that we Hebrews, I'm speaking as if I'm the writer to the book, we Hebrews need to recognize the greatness of our father Abraham as Jews, as Hebrews. And yet, Abraham paid tithes to Melchizedek. How much greater must Melchizedek be than Abraham in this midrash that I'm spinning as the reader, as the author, so that we can begin to understand that in God's perspective, Jesus is so much greater, and that we owe our allegiance to Jesus just as we owe our allegiance to Abraham, who is our father. But how much more should we owe our allegiance to Jesus? Don't fret, my readers, I would say, as if I were the author. Don't fret about the temple sacrifices being done away with or shortly to be destroyed, depending on which side of the destruction you place this book. Don't worry about that. All right? We've got a great thing in having Abraham as our father, as Hebrews. But how much more do we have something greater in that we have this great high priest who has ascended to the heavens and is interceding on our behalf before the throne of God itself. We have this great high priest, Yeshua, and he is a type and shadow of this Melchizedek, this great high priest of God. And Abraham yielded to Melchizedek, therefore we, as descendants of Abraham, must yield to our great high priest, Yeshua, as well.